When you think about India's previous 2 tours to Australia, we automatically think how India bowled Australia out in their own backyard. And there was a mastermind behind it. Today, we speak to that mastermind. Team India's former bowling coach, Bharat Arun, and well, the bowling guru sheds light on the new paces in the camp in this one, his series predictions, and what makes Jasprit Bumrah the best in the business.
When you speak to most batsmen about him, about Bumrah, they feel that they pick him a fraction of a second late.
Too much of analysis, I believe, leads to paralysis.
The BGT is around the corner, and we have a man who, of course, knows the true things about winning the Border Gavaskar Trophy. He's done it not once but twice. Bharat Arun, thank you so much for your time. Just want to ask you first up, how excited are you? Another India-Australia series must be keenly awaiting.
Yes, it is probably one of the most exciting cricket test matches that you can ever watch. So I'm really looking forward to it.
You didn't get the chance to have a 5-match series, but you would have kind of been chomping at the bit to kind of go 5 times against Australia, right?
It is fun, lots of fun, and that it's very challenging. And if you learn how to enjoy the challenge, I think it will turn out to be a great series.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's going to be similar conditions to where we're recording this in Chennai, because as you can see, I'm dressed pretty shabbily for television. But jokes apart, just want to get your quick prediction out of your way before we talk about all things. 5 matches. Do you think India again, 3 times in a row?
Well, my heart says India, but then we really need to prepare well for the series.
Makes me think about that episode of Unmind we did with Bharat Arun sir, and he spoke about pretty much all the kind of tactics, how the parties happened after the 36 all out.
I know 36 being all out, everybody was in terrible mood. I think the biggest party was after 36.
And the dressing room wore it as a badge. At least the tail goes with Ravi Shastri that way. I want to ask you one particular bowler who will be on everyone's mind, Jasprit Bumrah. Is it the action? Surely it can't just be the action which makes him such a tough operator.
Well, when you speak to most batsmen about him, about Bumrah, they feel that they pick him a fraction of a second late, and him clocking 140 plus consistently and picking his balls a fraction of a second late makes him that much more difficult.
Is that your advice to batters then? Because I'm pretty sure when you work with KKR MI, are you giving tips to the KKR batters of how to counter Bumrah? Play him late as possible?
Not really. I do speak to batters, but that's not about giving them tips and things like that. But then batters tend to they have their own technique to get used to such things. But Bumrah keeps getting better by learning to move the ball both ways. He moves the ball both ways at will, and he is also extremely consistent in his executions. That's what makes him much more dangerous.
You saw him earlier this year against England, and he just absolutely brilliant in terms of the exponential reverse swing, and it is the SG balls. You're going to be playing with the Kookaburra balls. What is the fundamental difference for viewers watching this? As a bowling coach, do you actually like bowling with the Kookaburra more or the SG more?
In India, I think it's the SG, because you have grown up in the domestic tournaments playing with the SG test, and you know how the ball behaves, and you prepare the ball so that it reverses much earlier. So, and also it has got a seam that's slightly elevated more than the Kookaburra ball. So in India, definitely I would prefer the SG test.
Yes, no obviously prizes for guessing that Bumrah has every skill in his locker. But I just want to ask you about the mental side of Jasprit Bumrah, right? When the chips are down, you're bowling your 4th, 5th spell in tiring conditions. What is the mindset of a player like that in Bumrah? Is he kind of set himself apart from the rest?
I think he's someone who has absolute faith in his abilities, and he's extremely confident that he can get a wicket anytime you ask him to come out to bowl. So those very qualities backing the consistency which he has makes him that much of a potent bowler.
Fast bowlers hunting in pairs, and Shami of course has gone on record recently saying how well he's worked with Bumrah. You saw it in close quarters. Is that true? Fast bowlers working pairs, in particular Bumrah and Shami have just been brilliant?
See, it's about maintaining the pressure, and hunting in pairs basically means maintaining pressure. So if you're bowling really well from one end, even from the other end, your bowler expects. One way of maintaining pressure is not giving runs. One is to get the wickets or not give runs. Both ways you maintain pressure. So it cannot, one end can't just open up and the other end bowl well and you expect to get wickets. From both ends, if there is pressure, it's all the more better for fast bowlers.
Just makes me think about data because it's such a big part of our game right now. People like Bumrah, Shami and the rest of the fast bowlers, how much do they interpret data? How much do you guys give them data as coaches or former coaches?
I think too much of analysis, I believe, leads to paralysis. So I think just enough data so that it gives them the right kind of inputs for them to plan better is good enough for me. Anything more, I think, because sport as it is very unpredictable, just enough data to make them plan where they need to really bowl and things like that would definitely help.
What about the new setup right now? Because obviously you were brilliant in your day as Team India's fast bowling coach and bowling coach in general. They have Moni Morkel, who of course is great in stature, pun intended. How do you think he'll go about it, and how do you think this new era of fast bowlers will uncover?
Well, India always has talent, and we have pretty good talent. The IPL also throws up enough and more, and the domestic championships now, we have picked close to 20 fast bowlers, so it does throw a lot of talent. How are we going to manage this talent? How are we going to nurture them and manage them is going to be the biggest challenge for us.
And let's see, fingers crossed, we hope that from an India perspective, they do get all the kind of fast bowling resources sorted before such an important series like the BGT. Final one then for me, because it is hot and fiery in terms of this interview and talking about Jasprit Bumrah. But you saw probably India's best fast bowling quartet in terms of Bumrah, Shami, Ishant and Umesh, if you'd like to add him there. Of course, Bhuvi was there and thereabouts. Do you think we'll see that again in Indian colours?
We always had great talent. If you look even before that, there was Zahir Khan, there was Ashish Nehra, there was Munaf Patel, there was Irfan Pathan, quite a few bowlers. Then even before that, Javagal Srinath, Kapil Dev and so on. We always have talent, and all these bowlers have inspired the next generation, and we do have talent. It's about identifying them and nurturing them.
And the newbies on the block, sir, I have to ask you this because Akash took his chance really well in that England series, followed it up in the Dulip Trophy, now could board that flight to Australia. And another player that you worked with in the IPL is Harshit Rana. How do they kind of get to the Bumrah-esque standards or even the Shami standards that these guys have set so high?
No, they do have the potential. There's a lot of hard work needs to go in for them to match these standards. But if you ask me if they have the potential, yes, they do.
Okay, super. It's food for thought because like he said, too much of an analysis is paralysis, but you don't get that on cricket.com. What you do get is masterclasses in good, insightful conversations just like this in Chennai with the man himself.